So friends, good evening and welcome in this very important webinar on Statutory Bank Branch Audit. We will see, we have our CA Vipul Chokshi sir, a past chairman of WIRC and immediate past president, the Chamber of Tax Consultant. So we welcome you sir and thank you so much for accepting our invitation sir.
Thank you.
We also have CA Dhananjay Gokhale from Nagpur, an expert faculty in the expert in the Excel in the and the Finacle, which is the banking software. So he will teach us about the how we can calculate the different aspect and the different calculation using Excel and the Finacle. How to import the reports from Finacle to Excel. We also have a CS Sweta Jain ma'am, expert faculty on bank audits. Ma'am has taken a wonderful session also in our entire week series on bank branch audit, on audit planning and documentation. We have a national faculty CA Vedant Parikh as well from Ahmedabad. He is a fantastic faculty and presentation on he is delivering presentation on many aspects including MSMEs and bank audit, concurrent audit, and many others. We have our friend CA Khyati Vasani as our today's coordinator. So we welcome all the faculties. So friends, before we start our session, would like to tell that at Connect Easy we have conducted more than 500 plus webinar in the last 1 year. We have started from April. Our first video we have uploaded on our YouTube channel also on 5th of April. So it's immediately in the lockdown. We are the first move in this webinar aspect as well. And on number of sessions we have conducted, past president, central council member, regional council member across the country addressed from our platform. Many renowned chartered accountant, company secretary, cost accountant have addressed from our platform, and many renowned speakers across the country on various aspects of the profession. So friends, before we start the session, would like to play a small video of our introduction and our review, what our guest has to say about us, and after that immediately we'll listen to our today's speaker. So just a small video.
Here, and I can say that I have met Virag since last 4 years. A person with passion, a person whatever he thinks he does, he works hard, and a man with a vision, and a person who thinks out of box. So with those words towards Virag, let me come towards Institute and Chartered Accountancy course of which you are members.
Thank you so much, Virag Bhai, who's been the pioneer, who's the organizer of this fantastic concept, this series. My compliments, Virag Bhai, the amount of efforts that you are putting in all throughout this lockdown and even the unlock phase in making sure that members are using technology to leverage their practice. They are able to understand what are the nuances of technology, how they can improve their own working. And I think not just on technology, all your sessions that you are focused on, maybe enhancement of knowledge, technical topics, or some special series where I had the privilege of being, where you had specially able chartered accountants who were guests and you had taken their interview, had a very good interaction. I think you're doing a great motivational work, Virag Bhai. My heartiest compliments and congratulations to you. May God bless you. We'll continue doing this wonderful.
First of all, I would thank Virag Bhai to be on this webinar. He's a fantastic guy and with multiple qualifications which he has achieved at a very young age. One more thing what I would like to highlight over here is that Virag lost one of his limbs when he was just 16 years old, and the level of efforts what he has put in to reach at this level is highly commendable, and I salute to this guy for reaching such heights. And he's an inspiration to such people who have either lost their limbs or who are disabled. So he's an inspiration for all, and plus he has mastered this art of conducting webinars and virtual seminars, and almost he has done 300 to 400 webinars and seminars in last 7 to 8 months. So it's a great achievement, and he has been doing a fantastic job and also being helpful to the fraternity at large. Well, some of the
virtual. Sadar Jai Jinin, welcome you all. I congratulate Virag to connect. There is a name is also itself the connect. Virag is connecting 1,000 plus attendees as well as we panelists on the screen. Friends, it's a very commendable, and I congratulate the person who can do, who have the good intention. Only when the program is success. So I salute to you, Virag, for your benefit and noble cause for our profession.
A big thanks to Connect Easy and JCAF for organizing such beautiful programs. And the registration itself says, जो आज registration हुआ 1001 का, वो अपने आप या participation 1001 का registration तो उससे भी कहीं ज़्यादा है. That itself talks a lot about the quality programs that are being conducted on this platform. अगर quality programs नहीं होंगे platform पे, I am damn sure 1, 2 या 3 उसके बाद programs हम नहीं कर पाएंगे. So for the last 3 months, the quality programs that are being done. So my heartiest compliments and congratulations to Virag Bhai and team, and also JCF Punit Bhai is here, and all the dignitaries who have not been able to join yet, but they would be joining soon. Santilal ji Kochar Saab, I know him very well, and the kind of energy that he carries with him, that is inspirational, I would say. मतलब आज जितना वो काम करते हैं इस एज के अंदर भी, तो हम सभी लोगों को उनसे बहुत कुछ सीखने का है. And
I was very pleased and came to know of the great work which this organization is doing. I would like to congratulate Virag Bhai on doing such good work on holding these webinars for the benefit of the CA fraternity at large. This technology week, basically, as I understand it, comes with an opportunity to a number of upcoming products, new products, and probably also some.
So friends, this is just a small introduction video. We have crossed 1,000 attendees also in the lockdown period, and today also we have a great attendance in terms of numbers. So before, now we would like to request our friend CA Khyati Vasani to introduce our today's speaker, today's chief guest, CA Vipul Chokshi, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening to our founder of Connect Easy, CA Virag Shah. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am very excited and honored to introduce today's chief guest, CA Vipul K. Chokshi. Before that, I would like to wish everybody a very happy end of financial year. And I think this whole year has been a lockdown financial year. And I think we have been successful working remotely during this year. And I wish everybody that we don't have to work remotely in the next financial year. Coming to the introduction, he's going to be speaking on the important aspects of bank branch audit and recent Supreme Court judgment. He is the past chairman of the WIRC of ICAI for the year 2002-2003. He is the immediate past president of the Chamber of Tax Consultant. He has been the senior partner of Shah Gupta and Company for many years. His expertise is in assurance and advisory practice, and he has an experience of over 30 years. He has specialized knowledge in income tax, corporate tax audit, bank audits, company law, and other allied laws. He has technical expertise, which includes carrying out audits in accordance with international standards of audit, as well as auditing standards of India, the GAAP and IFRS. He has also been involved in the revision of guidance note on audit of bank issued by the Auditing and Assurance Board of ICAI. Sir, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Your practice has been longer than how old I am. We are very glad that you've accepted our invitation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Khyati, for a very generous introduction. And thank you, Virag, for inviting me to this wonderful platform of Connect Easy. Virag, I have known him when we were the auditors of Union Bank of India, and he was working for Union Bank of India. A very ambitious and enterprising chartered accountant, and the way he has, developed this platform of Connect Easy speaks itself for the fact that he is a person with vision and very always wanting to share knowledge with good faculty. And we had a small clip about him contributing to the profession. So compliments to you, Virag, and all the faculty who are going to share their knowledge. And thank you very much again for inviting me. In fact, I am not the chief guest here, but just to share, little knowledge that I have on bank audit, and it's always a learning process for any chartered accountant, how so senior he may be. Couple of things, which I would like to say initially about what, the central auditor or the management of a bank expects from the auditor. That is one thing I would deal with, and second thing which I would deal with is what are the key issues, which are relevant for audit of this year. Now, first and foremost is, the allotment of, I just overheard, Shweta talking to, Shweta, somebody was talking about, allotment of bank audit. So, the Reserve Bank of India has changed the criteria of allotment of bank audit this year. Earlier, till last year, the branches above 20 crores of advances were covered fully every year, and branches below 20 crores of advances were done every 5 years. But this year, Reserve Bank of India has changed the criteria, and they've said that 90% of the advances will be covered by the branch auditors and the central auditors of the bank. By that, what has happened is the number of branches which would be audited by all the nationalized banks has undergone, it has reduced in that sense. So there are two things. One is some of the auditors are not retiring. So number of vacancies which got created in various banks are very less. So this year, I think many chartered accountants have not got the bank branch audit. So this is as far as, this year bank audit is concerned. Second is, we, 2020, when we did bank audit, we were passing through the challenging time because it was the initial phase of lockdown and we were under the lockdown. This year, there is no lockdown, but the cases are increasing more than what it was last year. So we are in a peculiar situation where, we would be required to do audit. At the same time, we will have fear of visiting the branch physically. So how do you really conduct the audit? Now, if you really ask me, conducting a bank branch audit virtually is difficult because of various reasons. Now, if you really want to conduct a bank branch audit very effectively, the access to CBS and effectively using the IT is very important. Dhananjay is going to deal with that. So, without visiting the branch, it is going to be a challenge. So I would suggest that whatever measures you want to take to protect yourself, you can take that and visit the branch and conduct the audit. And if you are not able to conduct the audit, you need to make a mention of that in your report that you could not physically verify, visit the branch, and you conducted the audit virtually, and that fact needs to be mentioned in your audit report. This is as far as conducting the audit is concerned. Now, first thing is the preparedness for conducting the audit. We have been talking about planning of audit and things like that. Now, planning of audit is very, very important because of the reason that we may be required to do maybe one or two branches. So if we are doing more than one branch, then the time is always a challenge. So planning is one of the key things I think which you need to do. So how do you really plan? So first thing is go through the branch instructions very carefully without I would say missing any part of the bank branch audit instruction which is given by the branch. You need to update your knowledge by going through all the important circulars of Reserve Bank of India. the guidance note of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, and whatever material which comes your way. I think you must read that, and that will help you in updating your knowledge and conducting the audit in a better way. And lastly, very important is documentation. We all know that we may be subjected to peer review, and auditing standards are mandatory. So typically what happens is that when we go to the bank branch, we conduct the audit not strictly following the auditing standard. We may be doing audit in a manner we are required to do, but then I think we need to demonstrate to the peer reviewer that we have conducted the audit in a manner which is required to be done. So you need to document your audit program, who are your team members, how the audit was conducted, and everything has to be properly documented. And some of the auditing standards, like selecting your audit sample, materiality aspect, and review of controls. All these things are very important, means how you evaluated the controls of the branch and how you plan your audit. So that is one important. These are all topic in itself, but I am just giving overview. Then coming to the central auditor, I think typically the central auditors, what they do is they conduct audit of maybe 2 or 3 branches. But they as central auditors rely on the work done by the branch auditor. They review the report of the branch auditor and then form the opinion about a particular zone or local head office which they do. And on the basis of all the reports of the LHO, then final report of the bank is given by the auditors. So in light of that, I think a lot of reliance is placed on the work of the branch auditor, and therefore I think it is of paramount importance that whatever work you do, your reporting to the branch auditor should be very precise and as per the auditing standards. Now while on report, I would like to mention about the long form audit report. Now, long form audit report is something which is nothing but general observations about the working of the branch, and there are various paragraphs which are required to be reported and examined by the auditors. So there, I think your report should not be, the answer should not be yes, no, and not applicable. We have seen, as central auditor of some of the banks, that the branch auditors, their LFAR reporting is very brief and the reports are not very descriptive. Now, if the reports are not very descriptive, it would be very difficult for the auditor to comprehend as to what you really wish to communicate. So that is point number 1 as far as LFAR is concerned. Point number 2, if you really go through the LFAR, it is very detailed and the questions are very logically formed. So in that sense, if you use LFAR as a checklist, it would be very helpful. So you should plan your LFAR along with your audit. It should not happen that once you conduct your audit and conclude the audit, then you sit to finalize the LFAR. Then it will be duplication of work. Point number 1. Point number 2, you may miss very important aspects of bank audit which you are otherwise required to do while conducting the bank audit. So this is as far as LFAR is concerned. I'll just briefly touch upon when I'll come to the issues for this year. Then sometimes there may be some observations in LFAR which may warrant its mention in the main report. So you should be very careful while making a report, long form audit report. Say for example, if you are mentioning in your audit report LFAR that this is an account, particular account which is NPA, but the branch has classified it as standard. Now you as a branch auditor is required to qualify this report or pass an MOC. MOC meaning you issue, it's nothing but a journal entry where you suggest that this account is required to be, classified as NPA, and that is the correct way of doing. And if you are just mentioning in your LFAR and without mentioning in the main audit report, statutory audit report, then it won't be correct. So, LFAR is one of the key, important aspects of bank branch audit. So you plan, point number one, plan in advance. Make your report concurrently while conducting the audit. Make your observation concurrently as per the LFAR. And third is your observation should be very, precise and not in brief like yes, no, not applicable. It should be elaborate. And fourthly, if there is something which needs mention in your report, you do that. Then another thing is, as I said, which I have covered in LFAR is, asset classification is one of the key aspects. If an account is NPA, you need to classify the account as NPA and not classify it as standard. So there you need to apply your knowledge properly. And if you feel that account is not standard, you need to classify, and you don't leave it to the judgment of the central auditor or the management. You take decision at your level and conclude rather than keeping it open-ended, because this is one area where sometimes and also sometimes auditors take it to the central auditor. If you have any technical query, definitely you take it to the central auditor. But as far as possible, you conclude at your level rather than keeping it open-ended. Second thing is, the valuation of security as far as NPA is concerned. Valuation of security is a very important aspect. Sometimes, you have tendency of, seeing just the classification, whether it is substandard, doubtful, and without assessing the value of the security. Now, we are aware that if there's a diminution in value of security, then account has to be, if it is more than 50%, then account has to be downgraded to doubtful from substandard. So you need to assess the value of security. Maybe you can choose the symbol, but I would say that when it is verification of NPA, you need to go for 100% verification. And if you feel that there is a diminution, you downgrade the account. Now, in this year, financial year 2021, valuation of security would be very important because of COVID, many businessmen or entities are affected, and there may be a reason to downgrade the value of security if it is the value of security is not available, and there is a possibility because of COVID. So in that case, I think you need to change the value of security. Another important point is, we have tendency of classifying the account into substandard or we have tendency of verifying only NPA, but we don't verify the classification of standard accounts into secured and unsecured. There may be an account which is standard, but there may not be adequate security. So in that situation, it has to be classified as unsecured. So you also need to verify the classification of account into standard and secured and unsecured as per the security available. Because, for the bank as a whole, the accounts are disclosed into secured and unsecured category. So classification you need to verify, maybe not 100%, but you have to verify. Then classification of accounts into various sectors. As you are aware, for standard account also provision is required to be made. Again, within standard, for some sectors the provision may be 0.40%. For some sector it is 1%. So, for example, real estate sector, the provision is required on higher side on standard account because it's a sensitive sector. So you also need to verify the categorization of the advances has been done correctly. Secondly, this has also got effect on the capital adequacy. So capital adequacy also, depending on the sector to which the advance belongs, the risk-weighted asset, risk-weighted factor is varying. It may be 100% for certain category of advance and 125% or maybe 80% depending on the category. So this classification of advances into category is also a very important aspect which generally is ignored. And because capital adequacy is something which is done by system, we are not really able to verify, but the input control, that is the way data is fed, I think that is something which we can definitely verify. Then the materiality, when you are issuing the memorandum of changes for any rectification, say provision for expenses, etc., you must definitely consider the materiality aspect of any item which you are suggesting, because if the amount is not material, I think you can definitely ignore. And if there is an error which is rectified in your presence in a subsequent year, if it is not material, I think you can definitely ignore it and make a mention of that this is the error which is found in the LFAR, that is found and it has been rectified. So these are some of the key aspects of audit which I thought are relevant when you start the audit and which you can consider while doing the audit. And while planning also, one thing which I forgot to mention is that you do write a letter to the branch auditor, the branch management, as to what you wish to have from them. A detailed, suggested letter is also given in our guidance notes. So such letter can be given to the branch manager in advance so that things will be kept ready. And second thing is, some of the requirement of auditing standard like management representation letter, audit engagement letter, etc. I think you should try to comply with those. You write a letter to the branch manager as to this is the audit engagement letter which you would like to have duly signed by you. Management representation letter also after you conclude the audit, I think would be necessary. So this is about the key aspect which the management expects, and also the central auditor which expect from the auditor. Now I'll just come to the important aspects of bank branch audit which are relevant for this March 21 audit. First is revised LFAR. Now, revised LFAR, there have been significant changes, I would say. First item, if you see cash and I will not deal with all the items because that itself may consume my 1 hour. So first item is cash and bank balance, cash balance. So cash balance, earlier we wish to verify only the cash balance. Now ATM balance has been added. So if there is an ATM attached to the branch we are auditing, you would be required to verify the balance, and there are related questions also. Advances, the major changes about the size of advance which you need to verify. Earlier the criteria was large advance was defined as lower of rupees 2 crore or 5% of total advance. Now that has been changed to 10% of total outstanding or rupees 10 crore, whichever is lower. So this is the criteria for determining the large advance, and all the large advances you need to have in your sample. You can't have test check. But if once you going by this definition of 10 crore and lower of 10 crore or 10%, whatever sample comes, you have to verify that 100%. Second is, now the sample of advances which you verify, you have to attach that sample as part of your LFAR. That is, I think, a very daunting task. The Reserve Bank of India is putting more responsibility on the auditors, that whatever advances you have verified, the sample will have to be attached as part of your LFAR. This is very, very important change, and I think it casts a lot of responsibility on auditors. Then advances, I would not like to touch upon what are the questions, but quick mortality cases, that is advance which becomes NPA in a period of 1 year, that is a quick mortality case. Then other related cases are like I would say drawing power, whether it has been correctly calculated. Now that is a specific question. So the interest rate, whether it has been correctly fed in the system. There were no such questions earlier in LFAR. So LFAR, as I said, It's very detailed, more responsibility, more time consuming. That's why I said that, whatever you have to plan, you plan in advance so that at the later stage, you are not to struggle to finalize your LFAR. Another very important thing is internal financial control of over financial reporting. Now, IFC OFR, we all are aware under the Companies Act, we have been reporting under Section 134 of the Companies Act with regard to internal financial control that whenever we give our statutory report under Section 143, we need to report about IFC. Now, IFC was, applicable to private banks, but nationalized banks, Reserve Bank of India brought it in March 20, but in March 20 again, because of COVID and lockdown, the banks were not prepared. So, Reserve Bank of India made it recommendatory for March 20, but March 21 it is mandatory. So internal financial control of financial reporting is very important. Now the institute has come out with a technical guide on IFC OFR for public sector bank, which has to be read along with guidance note. If you read technical guide in isolation, maybe you may not be able to understand it fully, but technical guide it's about a 125-130 page publication where you need to read. But very important thing is internal financial control. All the branches, may not, because as for the technical guide, what it says is that the branch management, the bank management, and the auditors may, jointly decide as to which are the branches which need to be selected for review of internal financial control. So maybe the branch which you are auditing, it is not selected, but if it is selected, there will be specific risk control metrics which you will have to test for controls. Whether, and of course, there will be suitable instructions and guidance from the bank management as well as from your central auditors who would be, reviewing your report. So I think this is one area which is very important, and you will have to, understand it because it's little technical. Risk control metrics which the branch prepares, the bank management prepares, will be given, and you will have to, test the controls, existence of controls. And of course, management also would be verifying those controls, but you as auditor will have to ask what are the samples they have, selected, and is there any cases where controls are weak, and what is the measure bank has taken to mitigate those risks. So this is one area which is new, LFAR 1. Second is internal financial control. Then COVID loan at concessional rate. Now, last year, somewhere in March, April, Reserve Bank of India came with, guidance that all the borrowers may be given 10% of their sanction limit as COVID loan by the bank at a concessional rate of interest. Now, in COVID loan, there may be 2 points, which you as an auditor may examine. One is COVID loan. I think end use of COVID loan was necessary to be given by the borrower. So if end use of the COVID loan is not given, I think you need to report in your LFAR. And as per the Reserve Bank of India guidelines, the COVID loan has to be repaid by 31st March. So if the COVID loan is not repaid by 31st March, what is action taken by the bank? And you will have to report, because now about the classification of that account, it will not become NPA because 31st March is the due date, so you have to wait for 90 days after 31st March. So in that case, it will not become. I'll deal with NPA separately when I come to the Supreme Court judgment. So this is one COVID loan, and then another issue was funded interest term loan. As you are aware, the moratorium was granted from 1st March 2020 to 31st August 2020. Moratorium is nothing but, I would say interest which was not required to be paid by the borrower. It was charged to the borrower, but it was not required to be paid by the borrower. So that was moratorium. So such interest which was not charged but not serviced by the borrower, the Reserve Bank of India permitted the banks to convert them into funded interest term loan. This funded interest term loan also was required to be repaid by 31st March. So this may be another issue which you need to examine. The another is ex gratia payment. Now, ex gratia payment is not that ex gratia payment which we understand is paid to the salary, but the ex gratia payment is again, related to COVID and moratorium. Government of India came out with a guidelines somewhere in October 2020 that all the borrowers with exposure of less than 2 crore or outstanding of less than 2 crore should not pay compounded interest for the period 1st March to 31st August. And government said that you don't bear the loss. Now, for example, if I am, earning interest of say 100 crores on compounding of interest from 1st March to 31st March as 31st August as bank, it will be my loss. So, government of India told all the banks that we will make good that loss. So, what would bank do? Bank will credit the borrower for that compounded interest and debit the amount recoverable from government of India. So you as auditor have to just verify that the amount which was debited as recovered from government of India, whether it has been recovered from government. And as far as interest calculation is concerned, government of India had said that you need to get it audited by your central auditor. So that figure would have been verified. So you need not really, break your head about the calculation part. Another thing is restructuring of advances for COVID-related stress. Restructuring, has been something which has been happening periodically in India because of various reasons. Now, this 6th August circular is very important, where Government of India has given, Reserve Bank of India, Reserve Bank of India has given one-time measure that those who are affected by COVID and they want their account to be restructured should approach the bank by 31st of December, and by 31st March the restructuring has to be approved. And if it is a restructured account, the provision has to be done, 10% of provision is required to be done in such cases. So you as branch auditor will have to verify that the restructuring has been done as per the circular. Of course, all the banks on the basis of RBI circular make their own circular, which is given to the branches. So you'll have to see that the restructuring, the guidelines have been followed. Then valuation of security is something which I have already covered in my talk. Valuation of security is very important because the whole provision of the bank depends on the valuation of security. And Reserve Bank of India, post audit of any bank does risk assessment of all the banks, and there they if they find that something is not done properly, the provision is not done properly, and one of the gray area is valuation of security. So you need to be careful. So I have covered revised LFAR, IFC, OFR, unserviced interest, and so borrowing. We have very moratorium benefit. This. Now I'll come to the Supreme Court decision. Now, Supreme Court decision, one Gajendra Sharma had filed a petition in Supreme Court that interest should not be charged on compounding interest should not be done in case of borrower. He had not, specified any limit or something. So, Supreme Court of India arising, I will not go to the detail of the judgment. Supreme Court arising from that petition gave an interim order on 3rd September 2020. Wherein it says that all the banks will not classify the account after 31st August. So there was a, so to say, status quo to be maintained by all the banks in case of standard account, no account to be classified as NPA. So if that, final order would not have come by 31st March 2021, then your life as a branch auditor would have been easier because there would not have been any NPA this year. But Supreme Court of India came out with a final order on 23rd of March. Now, 23rd of March, the circular says that the two important aspects. The Supreme Court of India in the order says that all the accounts, which were not classified as NPA have to be classified as NPA. So that is one. So the accounts have to be classified as per the prudential norms. Second is about the interest, the ex gratia payment which I discussed. Interest has to be not charged even on borrowers whose balance is more than 2 crore. So this is something where all the banks are in fix because of this order. What they will have to do is they will have to reverse compounded interest for the period from 1st March to 31st August for all the borrowers. So this is a very Herculean task, I would say, and very time-consuming exercise. So you as branch auditor, what will be your role? I believe the banks will reverse the interest for such borrower at the central level. They may not be reversing at the branch level, because if they have to do it at the branch level, then reversal has to be done by 10th of April, before the date you conclude your audit. So that may not happen. So if that is not done, I think your task is that much easier, but you may have to make a mention of that in your some of the standard clause which you give in your branch audit report regarding bonus is provided at head office. Some of the accounting standards are complied at the head office. So such clauses you give in your audit report. So one more clause you may have to say that in light of the Supreme Court decision, the compounded interest which was to be reversed is not done in the branch, but will be done at central office. Now another point from the bank as a whole would be, now as I said, in case of 2 crores and below advances, the compounded interest was refunded by the government. As of now, there is no directive from Government of India whether that amount would be refunded by them. So in that case, the bank will have to take hit. And if at all the bank, the Government of India decides to, refund that interest before the bank's main balance sheet is finalized, maybe at central office they may pass the entry. Now, as far as NPA is concerned, as I said, till 31st August, the account was not to be classified as NPA as per the interim order. So no account to be classified as NPA as per the interim order of Supreme Court. Now the Supreme Court says, as per the final order of the 23rd March, that account can be has to be classified as NPA. Now some of the borrowers, they were not paying their installment or loan because of the financial constraint which they had, and they were mentally secure at peace because of the Supreme Court decision that our account will not be classified as NPA. So now because of this order of the Supreme Court, all the borrowers have been fixed. So Indian Bank Association, you would be aware that Indian Bank Association is an organization where all the nationalized banks and public sector banks are member, and some of the key issues which need to be deliberated are discussed by them. So IBA has taken a view that in case of all the advances where account becomes NPA because of this particular Supreme Court decision, then from 1st March to 31st August, it will be a blackout period in the sense that your period of irregularity will be counted from 1st September. So that is very important. So if an account, otherwise what would happen is that if a borrower has not served any interest or installment for a period from 1st March to 31st August, the account would become classified immediately on 1st September. But that cannot happen practically. So, IBA has communicated to all the banks that the account will not be classified as NPA for this period. So you will, from 1st September, you will count your irregular period, and from 1st September, the account is irregular for 90 days. It will become NPA on 91st day. So this is as far as Supreme Court decision is concerned. Now there may be a situation where an account was irregular before 1st March. say an account was irregular from 1st February to 29th February. So 29 days it was irregular. Then 1st March to 31st August, there was a moratorium. So it will not be affected. So whether those 29 days have to be counted. So if when you don't count 6 months, then from 1st September to say 31st August, 61 days and 29 days of earlier irregular period. So whether account becomes NPA. Now this is one gray area where there is no clarity because that is of previous financial year. But I would, if you take a conservative view, I think the previous irregular period has to be counted. In that case, for example, if an account was 60 days irregular before 1st March and then 30 days subsequently, then account will become NPA on 30th September. So I think this was in brief about the Supreme Court decision. The major, decision is that interest compounding has not to be done. So bank has to reverse compounded interest in all the accounts. Earlier it was less than 2 crores. And second is account has to be classified as NPA. Earlier as for interim order, it was not to be classified as NPA. Only thing is because of this 1st March to 31st August period would not be counted as per IBI guidance. So, friends, I have discussed all key issues which are, applicable for this audit of March 21. And one very important aspect which I forgot, to mention about importance of IT in your bank audit. Dhananjay, since I forgot to mention, I strongly believe that I think you need to be a good IT person to conduct the bank audit. If you don't have good IT knowledge, you need to have an IT expert in your team. Then only you can, I think, do effective bank audit. And not only effective bank audit, but you can do it faster. And that is what I strongly feel. So I think I have covered all the important aspects, and thank you very much, Virag and Khyati and everyone for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, and I would be happy to take questions maybe at the end or now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for going into the details and helping us with the challenges, the added challenges that we have this year because of the COVID-19 disruption. I would request CA Virag Shah, the founder of Connect Easy, to please give a hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, CA Vipul Chokshi.
Thank you so much. It's my proud privilege, sir, to give a formal vote of thanks to you, sir. It's a wonderful keynote address, sir, from you. Important aspect you have covered very well within a limited time, and also about the recent income tax judgment. Sir, I got the 2 times opportunity to work with you. First, as you mentioned, that with the Union Bank when I was a part of Union Bank. So I host you as an auditor to entire Shah and Gupta team. And last year as well, when you were president at the Chamber of Tax Consultant, was a part of 2 important committees. One is a membership committee and one is a direct tax committee. So it's very, very wonderful to work with you, sir. And thank you so much once again, sir, for addressing all the attendees. We are almost around 300 plus at present, sir. And we will upload this on our YouTube channel as well, where more people will take the benefit as well. So once again, sir, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now I would like to request Khyati to take the proceeding ahead.
Thank you, Virag Shah. Our next young speaker believes that speed is one of the most important requirement. Sorry, there was a IT glitch. Our next young speaker believes that speed is one of the most important requirement in statutory bank branch audit. He's going to be talking about how to import Finacle report into Excel, ledger scrutiny and account using filter and verification of interest calculation using Excel format. Our next speaker is CA Dhananjay Gokhale. He is a qualified chartered accountant. His other educational qualifications include DISA from the ICAI. He also has qualification with forensic and fraud detection. He's also a certified ethical hacker from the EC Council. Professionally, he has experience at mutual fund NAV calculations with MP Chitle and Company in Mumbai. He has also worked with Spandin Heart Hospital Nagpur, being instrumental with profile and costing analysis consultancy. He has served as functional consultant in Office Box Software Private Limited. He is currently the partner in Kedar Gokhale and Company. He has delivered 50 plus webinars on Finacle report, import, Excel and cloud-based office management like VMA, ICAI, WIRC section of the ICAI, and he has given these webinars all over Maharashtra. He has delivered over 15 physical sessions in Nagpur, Chandrapur, Wardha, Dhule, Kozhikode with the ICAI. He has also been the visiting faculty for the National Academy of Direct Tax for the IRS officers. He has delivered 80 plus sessions as a contributory faculty in colleges like the City Premier, GS College, Raisoni Group on Excel for students of BCom, MBA, and other commerce field. He has written various articles on IT related topics for the CA journals of the Nagpur and Calicut branch of ICAI. He runs his own YouTube channel called the Excel Kida and a website called excelkida.com, which helps CAs with Excel and IT related techniques. He has conducted systems audit and migration audits of cooperative banks with various CA firms. He has developed Excel-based MIS utilities for inventory management and analysis. He has developed free of cost Excel add-ins for chartered accountants and data analysts. He has also developed and is running a website which offers free utilities for CA to help easy generation of GSTR 9C. It is called erpcloudanalysis.in. Sir, you also have to tell us how do you manage your time. You have to give us a session on how to make the most of the time that you. I don't know how you do all of it. Thank you so much for taking this session today. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Kathy, for the introduction. And firstly, I would like to thank Viraj Bhai for giving me opportunity because connect easy. So in the lockdown, I used to see the WhatsApp message and only thing that was hitting this session of Connect Easy. So I have seen in the last year, he has literally covered every topic our chartered accountant require. You will hardly find that any topic Connect Easy platform has not covered. So thank you, Viraj Bhai, for connecting me and offering one session. And thank you, Vipul sir, because your inputs would be very beneficial for me during this session. So you have covered something means about interest. So I will be focusing more this session on the interest calculation, because one thing I came to know while I was listening to Vipul sir, that this last 2 years, see, the CBS were not programmed from this COVID and this scenario. These are always exceptional scenarios. So somewhere on normally programmed CBS, somewhere they have to amend it. And whenever you amend it or whenever you make some exceptional changes, there are bound to happen some mistakes, which even Vipul sir said that as an auditor, you have to at least check on the sampling basis, just that we don't have to rely directly that, okay, system है ना तो calculate कर देगी. No, we cannot keep this approach. And this example, which I would be covering here, actually what Vipul sir said, one of the instance is there. So let me share my screen and start with the session. So I will turn off camera for better bandwidth. Viraj sir, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me start by sharing a link of Finacle reports. See, because I believe firmly in workshop type. So just I would be delivering and after that you would be conducting. No, that is not of use. क्योंकि अगर आप आज करेंगे, कल जाके आपको हम सबको बैंक ऑडिट करना है. So that's not the time for experimenting. Seriously. abhi kar lijiye. We have 4 days with us, so at least you can practice that. So we will be proceeding a bit quickly. So let me start by sharing with you one of the link. So let me check if I have access to, yes, chat window. So friends, I have pasted one link of Finacle report with all of you in the common chat window. So now I will request that for first for first 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, please be with me on my screen, and after that I will be giving you 5 minutes to at least some hands-on. Okay, so let me start. So as you can see, I have pasted link. So let me open this link. So this is a public Google Drive link of one of the Finacle report. Now I am targeting Finacle, but you can apply this thing for any, even banks 24. Technique is same, just that I had got opportunity to audit where Finacle was there, so I made it for Finacle. So I'll paste that link first on the browser window, and let me open this. So you will see nothing on the screen because it is a simple report file. If you अगर ये open हो सकती थी, so why would a session would be required? Okay, so ये file generally it cannot open very easily. So let me tell you, let us download it and not worry, because whole session is about import and other things. Okay, so I have downloaded a Finacle report on my file. Now Finacle report, not necessary Finacle, it applies to banks 24, FlexCube, any type. The file extension might change, but report format would be more or the less same. Okay, so in Finacle I have seen that generally report file has an extension of .rpt or .prn. So let us first open this file. So normally you would not be easily be able to open this file, so we have to take help of Notepad, which is installed in everyone's system. So I will go to file, open. Okay, so on desktop I have Finacle report. Now you cannot see it because extension, so all file has to be selected so that this Finacle file would be browsed. So let me browse this file and open this file. So let me brief you that what account I have selected. So I have just selected one of the CC account. Now this account this is a bit old data of 1718. So normally this data or whatever demonstration I would be covering, we may not be able to compare it, because now this due to COVID situation, handling of interest on this or all other things would be a bit different, but we would be focusing on the techniques. Once you master the technique, you can do anything with it. So let us start by first importing the report. So just at a glance, if I cover this report, it is a simple CC account report split into multiple pages. So if you go through this report, basically this report is meant for printing because it is split divided into pages, multiple pages. Now let me tell you what this. So generally if you observe through the history of CBS, dot matrix printer still are used in our banks, or they are preferred. So mostly all the reports would be made or exported considering the dot matrix printer. So they have a typical format, and that format gives us an extra added advantage to import it in Excel. So let us use this report. So let me first copy paste this report. So I will go to edit, select all the text. Again, I will go to edit and copy all this text. And now let us start Excel. And I will just simply Control V and paste it. Now import is not finished. We have just pasted the text, not the report, because let me tell you, if you go through the cell, means column number A, see all the text is there in the column number A. So column B is empty, C is empty. Okay, like this, all the columns are empty. So complete text was dumped into a single column. So the next task is you have to split this report in columnar format. So let us split this report. So I will select complete A column. Then I will go to data, text to column. You would find we will choose fixed width. Why fixed width? Because this report is intended or made considering dot matrix printer. So it has a fixed width. Page has a fixed width in dot matrix. So I will select fixed width. Then I will press next. Now you can see column delimiters. Okay, now just a minute. Okay, you can see some column delimiters. So we need to split this report column by column. So now by default, Excel tries to guess where are the columns, but mostly I have seen 90 or 99% time this column detection mechanism fails because of this page headers and page footers. So what I will do, first I will remove all those column headers which Excel has detected. So if you double click here, a column marker or column delimiter would be removed. You can drag any column marker like this, and you can even insert any column marker by clicking it. So it is simple, double click to remove, click to insert, and drag. Okay, first let us remove all the column markers. And we will freshly put the column markers. Now there is one thumb rule in this dot matrix printer format reports, that amounts are always right aligned and date and text is always left aligned. So let us start by delimiting our columns in this fashion. So I will now the first column marker was correct. I will start from the right hand side. So debit credit itself is another field, even though Finacle or other CBS doesn't treat it. Okay, deposit column ends here, so balance starts from here. Okay, deposit column has been delimited. Then I can use check number and character to determine where withdrawal column starts. Okay, now don't go by headings. I have seen many times heading shifting inside the another column. Delimit the column using data. Okay, so check number ends here and check number column starts here. Okay, so finally we have put column markers correctly. Let us press next, and let me tell you, you have to be very careful with the column markers. Any mistake, like let's say, let me tell you, if you put a column marker like this, you'll have like 45,000. Okay, this one can go in the another column. So 1,45,000 it would be. So this may lead to wrong interpretation and total wrong analysis based on this. So you have to be very careful while you are marking the column markers. Now, here we need to tell one extra information, that now Excel doesn't know if we are sitting in India or USA, because date formats change in India, USA. So we need to select all the columns where dates is there, and we need to tell Excel that treat it as day, month, year format. Okay, let us press finish. So our columns data is split into columns, multiple columns, as you can see. Okay, so our first step is ready. So let me save this file. So always don't forget to save your file. Okay, any file name. Now let me rewrite the headings. So this is date because sometime heading shifts. So maybe I don't want particulars, but narration, this column name, check, or let's say NEFT number, withdrawal, deposit, and let's say cumulative balance, not balance, cumulative balance. And this is, let's say, sign, okay, debit or credit. So we are assuming that debit is positive. Since it is a CC account, debit is positive. So wherever we will find credit, we'll have to make it minus. So that is the next step. But don't worry, we will jump to that. We will come to that step. Let me freeze the top row before I go to the next step. So we are finished with the first step of importing the data. Okay, so import is finished. Now next step is that removal of garbage rows. Okay, data sanitization technically, which is called. Now it would be very difficult because my subtotal, sum, okay, or even pivot, everything would fail because this report has cumulative totals after each, means at the end of each page. Okay, so these things would definitely affect our Excel formulas. So I want to get rid of all the garbage rows. So first let us identify that what are the garbage rows which we can very safely delete. So page headers, this is a garbage. Okay, page footers, then even blank rows are garbage rows. And if you notice, see, we are not interested in UTR numbers, which sender bank is. Basically, narration generally comes in the first row. After that, that is totally supporting information about the transaction. So first, let us select apply filter so that we can select all the garbage rows which we can remove. Now, if you apply filter like this, nothing would be selected, because what is the thumb rule of the filter? Moment Excel encounters any blank row, okay, any blank row, filter stops there. Okay, so we will have to manually select all this data and apply filter. Okay, first let us freeze our header or make it appear as a header. So some just a presentation, you can say. So first let us select this complete data to apply filter. So you can select like this, shift and page down, or I will suggest you one short key. Just place your cursor on the first row, first column, and press Control Shift End. Okay, Control Shift End, and all the data would automatically get selected because Excel has a smart detection that where the data ends. And after that, we can apply filter. Let's check if all the rows were in the filter. Yes, you can see all the rows. Now the next step is, let us select the garbage rows which we have to get rid of. Hold down is a short key to invoke this drop down. So let us select the garbage row. So first I will deselect all the data, and let's say we select cumulative, date, and blank. Okay, all this basically page header, page footer, and blank rows. Let's check. Yes. Okay, so this is our basically garbage data. So let us remove this. First select this garbage rows. So I'll place my selection on the second row and first column, and let us press again Control Shift End, and let us now delete it. So in the home you can delete it, but don't directly delete this selected data, otherwise even the hidden data would be deleted, where hidden rows where actual data is there would also be deleted. So we have to break this selection to only physical cells, sorry, visible cells. So I will go to find and select, go to special, and I will click visible cells only. Please notice after I press OK, this selection would be broken down to the visible area. Let me press OK. Now can you notice there are gaps in between? So now we have selected only visible cells Now you can very safely delete all the selected rows. So it means indirectly delete all the selected rows. Don't get confused with the heading of the menu. So let us delete it. 10 to 15 seconds generally Excel takes to remove the rows, because since the rows are not in continuation. Okay, so deletion is complete. So let me clear the filter and let us press up down arrow again. Okay, so our data sanitization process is over. So we are successfully removed all the rows. Now from here we can apply filter, pivot, anything which we want. So the next, so let me check if any questions are there, or otherwise we can proceed. Or maybe we can take question answers at the last. Okay, so let us proceed to the next. Now next thing is data analysis. So let us start with the data analysis. तो चलिए column headings को comma format में ले लेते हैं, and even let us apply this subtotal. So is equal to subtotal 9 for sum, and let us select this complete data. Okay, now I want answer from all of you, just 5 minutes, that what are the red flags in this. Okay, now why this step is important, because in this COVID scenario, if you are not able to visit branch, or maybe you would be able to visit, but it might be that we may be able to spend very less time. So it is very important that if you could do some ledger scrutiny in advance, so that we come to know which file to select. So this activity would literally help. So now I would select all the deposit rows and hide the withdrawal rows. So I will go to the blanks, select this, press enter. So all the deposit transactions have been selected. Now let us make this session a bit interactive. What are the red flags you can see on the screen? You can see the amounts, I guess, on the screen. What are the red flags you find in this, so that we can at least write some of the observation in LFAR which may point to any fraud? Now I don't say that it is a fraud, but हो सकता है कि आपके ये इनपुट से, like Vipul sir said, कि ऑडिटर जनरली डिस्क्रिप्टिव नहीं लिखते. सो इस तरह से अगर आप रेड फ्लैग्स को थोड़ा सा डिस्क्रिप्टिवली लिखते हैं, तो हो सकता है इट में हेल्प सेंट्रल स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिटर, क्योंकि अगर आप एक अकाउंट का कुछ परव्यू देते हैं और वो मिस्टेक अगर हर अकाउंट में हो रही या मेजॉरिटी अकाउंट्स में अगर होती, तो आपके इनपुट से, LFAR के इनपुट्स, it might help central statutory auditor to determine even more types of mistakes. So I want answer from all of you that what are the red flags you see on the screen. You can answer on the question answer window. So it is our chat window only. Please बताइए क्या क्या red flags आपको दिखते हैं इसमें. It has 3 to 4 red flags. Yes, names are similar. So there are some related parties. Yes, correct. Round figure amounts. So देखिए, so आपके sales पे आपको realization round. So there are very less few parties कि जिनको exact odd amount जितना sale amount है उतने का realization है, and you can see many parties कि round amount में settlement हो रहा है. Any more red flags? I will have to scroll a bit to the left hand side. Any more red flags you can see? Less credit as compared to cumulative debits? No. जी अभी हम दावे के साथ नहीं कह सकते, क्योंकि विड्रॉल स्लाइड भी देखनी है. Yes, correct. We can definitely, sir. You have good suggestion कि हम डेटर्स के साथ compare, and in this case we had compared with the debtors. Okay, one more red flag many of you are missing. एक और red flag है. Don't you see transaction each day? हर दिन देखिए 1.5 लाख, कभी 1,60,000 हर दिन आ रहा है. And let me tell you, physically हमने जब फाइल उठाई थी, ये ट्रांजैक्शन
Sir, just
hardly
a minute.
in a
Dhananjay,
year.
just a minute.
Yes.
Few participants are not able to see the screen. So I would like to request them to change the device because screen is visible to maximum attendees. If you are not able to see the screen, please change your device or re-login. Okay. Sorry, Dhananjay sir. Please continue, sir.
No issues. Okay, now don't you feel कि देखिए हर एक दिन डिपॉजिट हो रहा है और रिलेटेड पार्टी से. सो दिस वाज आल्सो वन ऑफ द रेड फ्लैग व्हिच वी हैड पॉइंटेड इन LFR. नाउ these red flags were not sufficient to treat as a NP or okay, but these were sufficient input so that zone could take action because this account actually went NPA in the next year. So it's always safe that if you find anything like this, best way, please report it. It is my personal view that please report it in LFR. Vipul sir can be able to throw more light on this at the end. Okay, so now let us some few more analysis. Now let us filter the withdrawal rows, or let us say we will filter amounts greater than 100, क्योंकि देखिए छोटे छोटे चार्जेस है which we are not interested. तो number greater than 99. Now any red flags? देखिए यहाँ पे तो बहुत क्लियरली आपको रेड फ्लैग्स मिलेंगे स्क्रीन पे. Yes, I am waiting for your answers. हाँ, ओनली वन क्रेडिटर. दूसरे पार्टी है बट सर वो हार्डली ऐसा है कि यानी सब एक के ऊपर पूरा खेल है इनका. एंड अदर देन दैट देखिए हार्डली कोई पार्टीज है. उसके बाद जो भी है चार्जेस, इंटरेस्ट. नाउ कैन एनीबडी गिव मी हिंट कि ये किस टाइप. यस, मार्को was only no, actually Marco was not only creditor. Now can you tell me what this what this transaction might be or what this complete arrangement might be? देखिए आपको 2-3 पार्टीज विड्रॉल क्रेडिट साइड में दिख गए जिनसे क्रेडिट आ रहे थे और एक ही पार्टी मेजर जिन्हें हम लोग पेमेंट कर रहे थे. कैन एनीबडी टेल मी व्हाट टाइप ऑफ अरेंजमेंट? यस, सुनील सर हैज गिवन वेरी करेक्टली. ये पूरा सर्कुलर ट्रेडिंग था. एंड लेट मी टेल यू, actually this was very classic case where Marco was not able to get the limit. So what they did, that this party took a CC account, CC limit, and they used to transfer the funds to Marco. And let me again show you some few more interesting things. So now I will filter Marco. Okay, I will filter Marco, all the transaction of Marco. Now can anybody tell me? Now picture is a bit more clear. Now there are 2-3 red flags in this section which you see. There are 2-3 red flags. Can anybody tell me what fishy is this? This portion had made many things clear to us. So I'm waiting for answers. Yes, data creator, same party. No, sir, bank branch negligence was not there. Yes, okay, money deposit and withdrawal. Let me give you some hint. Sanction limit was of 7 crore. Sanction limit was of 7 CR. Now any observations? A very specific I have told. Something about this limit. ₹7 crore limit. Now Yes, exactly. So Marco was actually crediting back. So Marco was paying the interest to them. So the interest was being financed from Marco because Marco had indirectly taken this limit. So it was indirect limit take, and he used to service the interest to this party. So moment overdrawing was there, Marco immediately used to credit, and the drawing was below 7 CR. Okay, so I guess it is clear. So now the intention of behind this is that if you are able to do this scrutiny sitting at your home when you are not at there in the branch, this might actually help you. तो आप देखिए 8 से 10 सीसी अकाउंट के अकाउंट नंबर्स मंगा लीजिए, एक इसमें आप थोड़ा सा ये इस टाइप की थोड़ा सा ट्रांजैक्शन एनालिसिस कर सकते हैं, तो यू एटलीस्ट नो कि हम जब लिमिटेड टाइम के लिए ब्रांच में जा रहे हैं तो कौन से फाइल को हम पर्टिकुलरली लेना है. So this will actually give you the hint. Now let us proceed to the interest calculation, which is very important currently. So please be with me on my screen for next 15 minutes because this is now a bit technical. थोड़ा सा एक्सेल के थोड़े से एडवांस फंक्शंस है, बट प्लीज वॉच इट केयरफुली. एट द एंड आपको बहुत कुछ अच्छी इनपुट इसमें से मिलेगी. नाउ लेट मी टेल यू, this account had flaw of wrong interest calculation. CC account interest was calculated incorrectly. Now I want answers from you that what might be the reason. Had system made any incorrect calculation error or any other? What might lead to this wrong interest was being charged, debited? So if you want to filter the interest entries, let me show you how you can filter it. So at each month end you can see a interest entry. So this keyword was being used, int.coll. So this would change bank to bank. So let me filter out interest entries, int.coll, interest collection. So 12 interest entries, and this was the wrong figure. What might be the reason? I'm waiting for your answers on the chat window. Yes, change in the rate of interest for during renewal. This was the actually case. So during renewal, MCLR plus that spread was renegotiated, but employee forget to update it in the system. So for last 4 to 5 months, wrong interest was being charged, and there were also few mistakes in entering, means changing the flags of stock statement received or not. So stock statement was received, but they used to change flag after 2 or 3 days in 1 or 2 instances. So again, that also created issues. So now interest is wrong, but now I'm asking you a question. Can we put this observation that system has incorrectly calculated interest due to wrong entry? Just mere putting this observation in LFR is sufficient? Or I will ask, has our auditor's job is over if I write this in LFR? No. MOC, yes. MOC would be required. So for MOC, you would need to quantify that what was the correct interest, so that you can at least pass an MOC that what how much interest was overcharged or undercharged. So let us calculate it. And this activity which I am demonstrating you this year, as Vipul sir said, would be very helpful, so that what amount has to be, means again we to get back, means so because we would not be crediting charging the customers, or we would need to reverse it. Bank would be reversing it. So my question is that this time they would be doing this activity manually. It may not be system derived completely because this is an exceptional situation though. So this activity might get wrong. So let us see that how we can recalculate it, because if anything like this happens, you need to quantify it. So let's see how you recalculate the balance. So first let me capture the incorrect balance. So this is our statement, we can say, and our interest calculation. So let me make a nice working, which would help us as a working notes. So interest entries are for 12 months. So let me write month name, month, interest according to CBS and interest according to auditor, April, May, and like this for all the 12 months. So first let us preserve what was the correct interest so that we can compare it. So I will copy it and paste it here. Oh, this is interesting. Interest according to auditor. Now, one thing is for sure, this is incorrect interest. So here, new fresh interest, recalculated interest figures would arrive. So naturally, your closing balance would be affected. So our running balance or cumulative balance would be changed if we have recalculated the correct interest. So first let us make it 0. So I will copy it, select it, and I will, before pasting, let us again go to special visible cell and paste this 0 and clear the filter. Now again, this balance was hard coded by Finacle. So let us recalculate it because new fresh interest amount would be arriving here. So is equal to, now since this is a debit, so debit, credit, and this is already in debit, so is equal to last balance plus debit minus credit, because I am assuming that debit is positive and credit is negative. So we can drag this. Now before that, you have to check if there are any credit, you have to make them negative. So I have dragged this. Now let us calculate the interest. So daily interest would be required. So day 1st April 2017. First, second, like this, we have to do for up to 365 days. So let me drag it. Now I want daily closing balance to calculate the interest so that I can accumulate it daily balance for a month. Now you cannot directly do this using VLOOKUP. Okay, like this. We cannot do this using VLOOKUP. The issue is few dates are missing, like first, then after that directly third, and VLOOKUP has one big downside. If multiple rows of this same date are found, VLOOKUP will return the closing balance of the first row. So it would return 699 as a closing balance for the fifth, which is actually 6,90,000, not 99. So VLOOKUP will fail here. So we will require a function called match, which can do this job. So let us formulate the match function. So match function and VLOOKUP have very small differences. VLOOKUP will search date here and fetch the balance from the F column, and match function will just search date here and fetch me the row number where this date appeared. So is equal to match. What to search? Please search this date, comma, where to search this date. So in this complete A column, please search this date, comma, and how to match this date. So let's say if we write 0, that means exact match, we will get the row number where this date appeared. So row number 2. So if I copy paste this formula, okay, let me hide this check number because it is not required. Now if I copy paste this formula like this, there is an issue. For second, I should be continuing the balance of first, row number 1, and for third, I should be fetching the balance of row number 4, not row number 3. So we need to revise this match formula a bit. Now this is a bit technical, but this is very important also. Less than, if you change from 0 to 1, this match would actually do the job correctly. So on this second also, please repeat the balance in the row number 2. And on third, please consider the balance in row number 4. This closing balance, not this. So we got the row number correctly. Let me drag this formula by double clicking here. So now next thing is balance. Now there is a function called index. Now what index does? So is equal to index. Please see what it does. So index says that index can fetch balance of this nth row. Okay, so is equal to index in this complete. So is equal to index bracket open, that in this complete f row, comma, kindly retrieve the cell in row number 2. So let us drag this formula. So we have the closing balance. What index did? It retrieved. Okay, like in this case, from this given selection of complete cumulative balance, kindly retrieve the value of cell in row number 4th. 1 2 3 4th. So 699 is a closing balance of third. So we got closing balance also. Now the next thing is simple, interest. But before that, we would require a rate of interest. So ROI is required. Now ROI, as you know, MCLR plus spread, and it might have also delay, 1% for stop statement delay or 2%, whatever bank policies. Okay, so your ROI would be combination of this or sum of this MCLR plus spread plus dealing stop statement or penal interest on overdrawing. So let us not get into this because that is not my objective. Let's say our ROI is a combination of this all MCLR plus spread plus all these components. For this few months is 12 point, or let's say 11.65%. So let me tell you, this account was actually renewed in November. So up to November, up to 31st October, this rate should prevail daily. So I will select this 31st October. Let us go to it. Okay, up to 31st October, let me fill it down. So Control D to repeat this rate. And from first, let's say we renewed on from 1st November. So let us assume 13.25%. It got renegotiated. So this rate will continue till 31st March. Now let us calculate interest based on this. So interest will be is equal to PNR by 100. So P is daily closing balance into R 11.65% divided by 365 for 1 day. Very simple. And we will have to round this. Okay, we will have to round this because I have seen that many CBS calculated in 2 digits. So they, while accumulating, they accumulate up to 2 decimal places. So this was interest for 1st April. Like this, we have to accumulate it. So let me drag this also. So if we sum total this interest for each month and we write this amount here, we would have a comparison of that what should be the correct interest. So let me take a sum total. So if I insert one more column called month name here, and let us keep the month name same, APR May. So there is a function called text which can extract month name from this. So your time would be saved. Is equal to from this date, comma, kindly extract the month name in 3 digits. In 3 digits is equal to from this cell, comma, please extract month name in 3 digits. So in double quote you have to write 3 times M and drag it. Let us check May, June. Okay, so this is correct. Now let us calculate it. So is equal to sum ifs, sum IFS. I am using sum IFS is equal to sum ifs, bracket open. Please total this M column, comma, but don't total all the rows of M column. Total only those rows where in I column, comma, April APR is written. Okay, I have given 3 inputs that please total, please apply sum to M column, but please maintain that only those column rows are added where in I column APR is written. APR is written. And remove this sheet name because it is in same. So I can copy paste, drag like this, and we can take difference like this is equal to as per CBS and as per auditor. But let me tell you, this is incorrect. For April, this interest is correct, but from May onward, it is incorrect interest. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with this May, June, July, and following months? I want to answer in your chat window or in question answers. What's wrong in this? For April, the interest, recalculated interest was correct, but from May onward, this interest is wrong. So what went wrong in this? Yes, interest on interest, because see, I removed the interest transactions. I removed this interest transaction. So this amount should be debited in the April so that all the closing balances, next cumulative closing balances of May would also be compounding this April month's interest. So let us do this. So I will remove filter. See, before this cumulative balances are wrong, closing balances. So I need to debit interest here. So now interest should be 666. So I will copy it, and you need to use paste special because it was a formula. Paste special values. Now please notice closing balance has changed. So now on the May we have added the April interest on interest. So now the May interest is calculated correctly. It has changed if you noticed. So like this, we have to do this for each month, one by one. Like copy the May interest and paste special it, Alt TSV, so that our June interest would be correct. Copy the June closing interest, paste it here. Now July interest correct. like this, we can recalculate it. Okay, so that's all, and we can, after that we can compare this. After then we can actually compare and come to know that what should be the amount, MOC amount. Like in our case, interest was overcharged actually, so they had to actually credit back the interest. Bank had to credit back the interest using MOC, and they had accepted this mistake. So you may find such type of mistake, and particularly in this COVID scenario, overcharging might be very heavy on the customer. So you have to be very careful. On the sampling basis, you can choose any 2-3 accounts and do this. So I'm done with presentation demonstration. So let us proceed to the question answers. So Virat sir, can we start with the question answers with your due permission? No, Virat sir, can we start with the question answers?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please see in the question tab, sir.
Yeah. Repetition. Now, since we don't have Virat sir, is this session would be uploaded on YouTube or something? Because repeating, we don't have enough time to repeat any of the steps. So if participants can rewatch this video, it would be
Yes, sir.
of
We will
great use.
upload on our YouTube channel, on Connect Easy YouTube channel. Just go into the YouTube and subscribe Connect Easy YouTube channel. We'll upload there, and you can watch maybe by tomorrow. We'll try to upload at the earliest, so you can watch there, and you can do the practice.
How to find, next question is how to find correct interest rate. Sir, correct interest rate you would get on the sanction letter there itself. And for MCLR, actually, you would get a circular, RBS circular of monthly MCLR changes. But generally MCLR side, I have never seen mistake because that is done centrally. So they update it very cautiously. Banks have the power to enter the spread, that spread portion. So that there you may find mistakes. I think our guest speaker sir can deliberate on this.
I think sir is not there. You please continue.
Okay, any doubts we have? Any queries? And let me tell you some. I would like to add few more things. Please always keep these things on mail. So even if you want single report, kindly keep it over email. Don't directly give the pen drive to branch manager or sit on the branch. Yes, you can sit on the branch PC and do your workings, but I would request or personally recommend that always keep it over the email, because as per we require an audit documentation. तो देखिए ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के लिए आपके पास ये सब जितने भी केसेस आपने सैम्पलिंग पे सिलेक्ट किए थे, तो आपके पास कुछ तो एविडेंस होना चाहिए, ऑडिट एविडेंस कि हमने इतने फलाना केस लिए थे. एंड लेट मी टेल यू कि ब्रांच के पीसी पे अगर आपका डेटा है तो मेक श्योर कि आप साइनिंग के पहले वो डेटा ईमेल बैक आपको हो जाना चाहिए. वंस यू साइन इट, आई डोंट थिंक any of the branch staff or manager would entertain you. Okay, so make it sure कि बेहतर है कि अगर आप आपके खुद के पीसी में करें ताकि आपका LFI ड्राफ्टिंग के वक्त इजीली हो सकता है ये. और if you are sitting on the branch PC, please take this care. And I think with the COVID scenario कि बैंक भी agreeable है कि ये data आपको generally email पे आ जाता है. So generally I have seen IT people of the banks have no issues. They cooperate very nicely. And these reports, many of the reports maybe would not be able to generate using the auditor login, but branch manager या staff के login से definitely generate हो जाता है. And one more thing, now this is again very personal view. Okay, one more thing I would suggest कि please insist कि branch staff को ये report generation के लिए we have very limited time, और एक कोविड केस में तो और लिमिटेड ही है टाइम. सो डोंट वेस्ट टाइम इन जनरेटिंग रिपोर्ट. देखिए हमारा काम एनालिसिस और ये सब करना है. ओके, सो वी शुड नॉट बी वेस्टिंग अवर टाइम. इफ देयर इज सफिशिएंट टाइम आप जाके बैठ सकते हैं बैंक की पीसी में, बट आई वुड सजेस्ट कि ये ऐसे रिपोर्ट आप प्लीज मेल करा लीजिए, ताकि आप शाम को या रात को जब भी फ्री टाइम है आप ऐसे कुछ एनालिसिस करके नेक्स्ट डे यू गो टू बैंक इन वेरी प्रिपेयर्ड मैनर. Any more doubts? Sir, branch manager has a power. Branch staff के पास outward mail की power नहीं, but branch manager has power. Sir, otherwise how would I shown this report? This is a dummy report, okay? Original data has been removed and all the amounts have been changed, but you get a data. Branch manager can email you, and that email is properly tracked by IT guy also, and that is allowed. Sir, the copy of this RPT format, what I can do, Viraj sir, if you could upload even this link on the YouTube channel along with in the YouTube description, can we do
Yes,
it
sir.
when
We
you are
will do
uploading
so.
video? Yes, so you would be getting the link of this RPT file, okay, Google Drive link on the YouTube video description. So I will share this link to the Viraj sir after the session. Any more questions? Now this may seem very technical, I know, but देखिए एक दो बार प्लीज प्रैक्टिस करिए तो शायद इसके बाद आपको थोड़ा सा इजी रहे. और हर एक्सप्लोरेशन कोई ऑडिट में नहीं हो सकता है, कुछ चीजें आपको प्रैक्टिस करके ही करनी पड़ेगी. सो 2 to 3 times प्लीज प्रैक्टिस करिए, ट्राई करिए, एंड आफ्टर दैट आई एम वेरी श्योर यू वुड मास्टर इट. ये कोई बहुत डिफिकल्ट चीज नहीं है. So I guess all the questions have been answered.
Sir, there are few questions. Excel sheet with formula also they want. If possible, we can mail them as well. Any suggestion
I
from
would be
your side, sir,
emailing
for
you so that
any
you can,
software?
yeah.
Sir, there is any software if you can suggest for bank audit?
Sir, generally software would not work because see, bank's data is generally not accessible to this software's vendor. Hardly we get 4 to 5 reports, or auditor has access to these reports. So generally we as an auditor don't share this data to any vendor to prepare any software. So I am not aware if any software is there, but I think this Excel should be sufficient. Excel itself is a very best software in the world. And if you use it, literally the things which Finacle was calculating, we had done this manually using Excel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I think, sir, with this we can conclude our today's session.
Yes,
And
definitely, sir.
friends will be in connect with us. We'll have some more session. This also will upload on our YouTube channel and also will share with the on your email ID. Thank you so much, Dhananjay sir, for your wonderful session. You are we can say Excel expert or bank audit expert, we can say, in terms of your whatever you have shown to us for the speed of bank audit. With the speed, accuracy is there with the technology. So thank you so much for your wonderful session, sir, once again. And we'll
Sir,
keep inviting you for other session as well for Excel, sir.
sure, very definitely.
Thank
I would
you.
also
Thank you.
love to connect.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So with this, friends, we are concluding today's session. Just before we conclude, I just want to play one video, and after that, we'll closing our session. So that video is just a motivational video of one of the chartered accountant turns IRS officer, though you can watch that.
And when you twin, two or more person come together, I think they can create miracles. And the proof of this synergy is between the Connect Easy and our JCF. Let me tell you, we must have, I can definitely tell you that in COVID period, we must have done nearly 120 webinars. And I have to thank Virag, the CEO of Connect Easy, for really giving us this opportunity to be with him and really creating miracles. He had, I think, in COVID period, Virag has done, I think, all adversity he has converted into an opportunity. This is what he has, from the day one, from the lockdown, he has started this webinar. I can say that he is a pioneer and the leader in this webinar sessions. I think Connect Easy must have done nearly more than 300 plus webinars, if I'm not mistaken. Virag, I think you confirm to this?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yeah. And I think he has brought and given us also an opportunity to have such excellent, highly influential people and intellectual people on this platform. So thank you, Virag, for giving a value addition to our members also and to JCF. And you also are a part of JCF. I understand, but whatever opportunities that you have given us, and this is what is called as merger, and the advantages of this, converting all your adversities into opportunities, all your stumbling stones into stepping stones, all your scars into stars. And this is what we have been doing it up to now.